So Mark Zuckerberg absolutely broke the internet when he posted this viral video of him comparing the Meta Quest 3 to the brand new Apple Vision Pro. And since now I have had an opportunity to thoroughly test out both headsets, I'm gonna go through this video with you guys, and every time Mark Zuckerberg says that the Meta Quest 3 is better than the Apple Vision Pro in a certain category, I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna let you know from personal experience whether there is truth to it or whether he's just being biased.
All right, guys. So I finally tried Apple's Vision Pro. And, I have to say that before this, I expected that Quest would be the better value for most people since it's really good and it's like 7 times less expensive. But after using it, I don't just think that Quest is the better value. I think that Quest is the better product, period. And, the different companies made different design decisions for the headsets. They have different strengths. But overall, Quest is better for the vast majority of things that people use mixed reality for. Now, my friend Kenny is actually capturing this video on Quest's high-resolution mixed reality pass-through right now. We're just here in my living room, and you can see his browser windows and whatever else he's got running up here. So yeah, Quest 3 does high-quality pass-through with big screens, just like Vision Pro. But we also designed it to be great for a lot of other things. Moving around, playing games, hanging out with friends and socializing, working out, and more. Quest, I think is just a lot more comfortable. We designed it to weigh 120 grams less, which makes a really big difference on your face.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying right now about comfortability, majorly. What I will say is obviously the Apple Vision Pro has a super high-end, really nice build quality. And in fact, even the mesh that goes around your head on that strap is extremely impressive, really nice. But at the end of the day, it's super uncomfortable. Not only do you have a long cable hanging off the side of it, you have a really heavy battery pack that, by the way, doesn't have very much battery life, but the headset itself is super top and front heavy. It's extremely fatiguing to wear, and as you can see from this clip right here, when I took it off, look how red my face is. Like, I really had to strap this thing on tight because it's so heavy. So what he's saying is absolutely true. The Meta Quest 3 is 100% more comfortable to wear.
No wires that get in the way when you move around. It's a big deal. Our field of view is wider, and I found our screen to be brighter also.
I didn't really notice anything too drastic with the field of view being wider. It may have been, but a lot of the stuff that I have personally been experiencing and looking at with the Apple Vision Pro was really immersive, panoramic, or like spatial videos and things like that. So you're really in an immersion zone. So I didn't really notice anything with the field of view problems that he's referring to. Maybe he's right about that. I'm not really sure. And as far as brightness, I would tend to agree. I think the Apple Vision Pro was a little bit dim. That is something I noticed, but that's not really a bad thing. Like, those screens are so close to your eyes. I don't need my eyes bleeding because of how bright this VR headset is. It was plenty bright enough. Like, there wasn't really like, man, I wish this would get a little bit brighter. There was no thoughts like that at all. I thought the resolution, the display looked amazing. So yes, while it is technically true that I think the Meta may have a brighter display, I really don't think that's even a factor here. It's just, as a matter of factly, true.
I also noticed that Apple's headset has this motion blur as you move around, which Quest is just a lot crisper.
Okay, so now Mark is saying that Apple Vision Pro has a motion blur when you move around, which Meta doesn't. I actually think it's the exact opposite. I didn't notice motion blur as bad in the Apple Vision Pro. I noticed motion blur a lot worse in the Meta Quest 3, personally speaking. And that is one reason that I don't use VR more as it is now, is because I get really bad motion sickness, like if I'm in a vehicle or something like that. But definitely when I'm like gaming or walking around with a VR headset on, I will get really bad motion blur. So something that I noticed a little more with the Meta Quest. That's just me personally.
Apple's screen does have a higher resolution, and that's really nice. But I was surprised by how many trade-offs they had to make to the quality of the device and the comfort and ergonomics and other aspects of the display and artifacts in order to get to them.
Just to pause real quick, Mark's mentioning how the Apple Vision Pro has a much higher resolution screen. The display is night and day. Very, very nice. If you're looking, like I said, those spatial pictures or videos, anything with immersion or even watching a movie, it really made a difference. Like I can't emphasize that enough. Like, that high resolution display is so crisp. Let's hear what he's saying about the trade-offs.
Now for input, Quest supports precision controllers that are great for games. Both headsets support hand tracking, but I found ours.
Okay, yeah. inputs, again, you can use an Xbox controller if you want to use Xbox Game Pass. Obviously, the MetaQuest 3 does come with the 2 hand controllers, and those are so nice, guys. Like the haptic feedbacks and actually just physically having something in your hands to interact with the virtual world, it makes such a difference. And that's one of the biggest downfalls that I think the Apple Vision Pro has, is that it doesn't have any type of controllers. At least if they were optional, it'd be so nice. Like even if we had to buy them separate or whatever it may be, I just think like you're already looking at something that isn't technically there. So it's really nice to have that haptic feel and feedback of something, you know, making it feel like you're actually interacting and touching. I think it really brings a whole new level to the immersion. That being said, and we're going to get to it right now, what Apple was able to do with the hand tracking and eye tracking is a whole nother story. So we'll get into that right now.
To be a little more accurate, Apple's eye tracking is really nice. We actually...
Oh, okay, sorry. And I actually paused a little late. Mark is saying that the hand tracking tends to be a little more accurate when you're using the Meta Quest 3 versus the Apple Vision Pro. I honestly don't know what he's talking about there. And maybe, again, he is one of the smartest people in the world, so maybe he's right and I'm wrong. I didn't notice a difference. I thought the hand tracking was pretty good on both. There was no like clear winner in my mind. In fact, if for whatever reason, my memory is telling me that the Apple one's actually a little bit better, but maybe I'm letting the eye tracking come into play a little bit there. But like I said, I really can't tell the difference. And if anything, I was going to give the benefit of the doubt to Apple on the hand tracking personally.
Had those sensors back in Quest Pro. We took them out for Quest 3, and we're going to bring them back in the future.
It is pretty exciting, though, that he's saying that they're going to bring the eye tracking back to the Meta Quest, because that obviously is such a great feature. However, me personally, if you've used the Apple Vision Pro for a while, you know it's so strenuous on your eye. That's another reason I like the controllers. The eye tracking is precise, it's great, but at the same time, I literally felt like I was getting a headache because I'm looking like with my eyes way too much. My eyeballs are doing way too much when I had that headset on. It was extremely fatiguing, almost to the point where hours later, I'm still feeling the effects of it. So yes, it is absolutely unbelievable technology, but me personally, I still would prefer a point and click device. I just think it's better. But it is cool to have the option to do the hand or the eye tracking.
This interface, it's not perfect for everything though. For typing or complex tasks, you're gonna want things like hands or a keyboard or controllers or eventually a neural interface.
Yeah, he's right about that. Like typing or doing any type of tasks is extremely tedious and extremely annoying with the Apple Vision Pro. So simple actions are wonderful, but when you get to the nitty gritty and if you want this to be a productivity tool, the Apple Vision Pro right now, as it is going to struggle. So Meta Quest 3 absolutely better for productivity.
Quest's immersive content library is a lot deeper. You know, we've been working with studios building virtual and mixed reality games and other content for a long time now. And if you want to watch YouTube or play Xbox on a big screen anywhere you go, that's only available on Quest for now.
Yeah, the immersive content library on the Meta Quest 3 right now is night and day. I mean, the Apple Vision Pro is absolutely phenomenal. It's excellent, but there's not a lot to do on it. Whereas Meta Quest 3, there's a ton of stuff you can do. You'll get in there and be overwhelmed by everything you can do in there. So he is 100% right about that, but that's only right for a matter of time, because you know everyone and their mom, all these iOS and app developers, they want to get in with Apple. It's Apple. So like eventually, as time goes, as we get to later iterations of the technology, later refinements, and obviously as time passes and progresses, that's not going to be a factor anymore. So yes, it is true, because Meta's been in the game longer. They have a much, much richer content library.
When I look around, it seems like there are a lot of people who just assumed that Vision Pro would be higher quality because it's Apple and it costs $3,000 more. But, you know, honestly, I'm pretty surprised that Quest is so much better for the vast majority of things.
Okay, so I think he may have misworded that a bit. When you're talking about quality perspective, the Apple Vision Pro is absolutely higher quality. There's no doubt about it. Blindfold somebody and put the Apple Vision Pro in their hands. And then that same person take it out and put the Meta Quest 3 in their hands. I promise you, 10 out of 10 people are going to say that the Apple Vision Pro is higher quality, just based on build quality and materials alone. And it's true, but that's not saying that the Meta Quest 3 isn't amazing as it is, because you guys got to understand, for the price point, it's like they're two completely different products. It's like one's a potato and one's a French fry. It's like further refined, it's nicer, more labor intensive. You had to add oil and salt and all that. You know, it's like you're comparing something that's very similar but very, very different, in my opinion. Like, just because a Honda Civic can get you from here to Disneyland and so can a Mercedes-Benz, of course there's a price difference there, right? And like, I don't even think that we should just be pushing the limits of, you know, $3,500, $4,000 on a VR headset. Like, I think the Meta Quest 3 has it right, because I'm not, just because the Apple Vision Pro is nice, I'm not diminishing the fact that the Meta Quest 3 isn't already perfect as it is for the price point that it is. Like, I think people are comparing them way too closely when it's just, it shouldn't be. Like I said before, you would not compare a Honda Civic to a Mercedes-Benz, even though technically they both have four wheels, they both have a steering wheel, they both have an engine, and they can get you from here to work. Like, they're two very different products, you know? So that's the way I'm viewing this. And it's like, as of now, from a quality perspective, like I said, I really think he might have said that a little bit, or he could have said it a little bit better. Quality, if he means internal, like, features, things you can do, software applications, you know, different things like that. Yeah, the Meta Quest 3 has everything that Apple has and then some, but except for the eye tracking currently, because they took that feature out. But other than that, it's like the actual device itself, of course, the $4,000 device is nicer than the $500 device. Like, just makes sense.
That people use these headsets for with that price differential. Now, look, I know that, you know, some fanboys get upset whenever anyone dares to question if Apple's going to be the leader in a new category. But the reality is that every generation of computing has an open and a closed model. And yeah, in mobile, Apple's closed model won. But it's not always that way. If you go back to the PC era, Microsoft's open model was the winner. And in this next generation, Meta is going to be the open model, and I really want to make sure that the open model wins out again. The future is not yet written. So, you know, I want to take a moment to just thank everyone who's been building with us for more than a decade.
So he just basically goes on to talk about how he's thankful for everybody that's using his product. And I got to say right now, like, take it from me personally, I have experienced and used both of these VR headsets. I choose to own the Meta Quest 3. I think it's much better value. There's so much more I can do with it, and I really can't justify paying $3,500 or $4,000 after tax, and depending on what storage size you get for the Vision Pro. There's not a lot I can do with it until it becomes more of a productivity tool for me. And for that matter, maybe even a longer battery life on it. A 2-hour battery is not even long enough to get me through some of my favorite movies. Like, you're not watching Oppenheimer. Like, we know that, right? So it's like, it's amazing. It was such an awesome product. I wish I could have one. I just can't justify the money. So until, you know, something happens, to either come out with like a less expensive version, or the value in terms of what it offers and what it can do can increase, I'm going to stick with my Meta Quest 3. I love it. I think it's a phenomenal product, as I think both are. But currently speaking, that's what you guys have. I hope you guys like the video. If you guys are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.